Hi, you've clicked onto today's tropical tidbit for Saturday. Alright, trouble, 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 and trouble. 4 areas to watch this week in the Atlantic. Things are really heating up here and it's only July 3rd right now. This right here in the Gulf is the most immediate concern as it is close to our shores and it's over the oil spill area. This is the trough split that split off from this trough and came backing away over here. You can see the surface low that has developed with it with a really nice spin in here. A few thunderstorms going off, but there's some shearing going on from the north over here, pushing clouds off to its southeast, and it's got a little bit more of a 200 millibar low to it than I thought it was going to have. So development with this is going to be slow, and the problem is it has a very short amount of time, maybe two, maybe 3 days tops, before it curves back to the north over here and moves back into Louisiana, possibly even farther east, possibly as far west as Texas over here, but it doesn't have all that much time, and this is the remnants of the outflow from Alex. That upper high is still over here. So this is going to be sheared a little bit. It's in marginally favorable shear environment. I don't even want to call it marginally favorable because it's not the greatest setup, especially with the 200 millibar low over it as well. So although this is a concern for the people with the oil spill, there are some winds, light winds around the surface low, but I expect that it won't be too much of a concern for significant development. I give it a low chance of developing into something tropical or subtropical. This is an area which hasn't developed yet. This is a new surface low that will be forming as this trough splits again, sends another piece down here all the way up to 200 millibars. And that's another feature we'll have to watch. This is a tropical wave and an area of low pressure in the western Caribbean, area of building heat as trade winds come in and converge with a southerly component to them, which allows air to pile up in here. This area is going to be propagating west-northwest into the Bay of Campeche in a few days. And this is a favorable development pattern similar to when Alex developed, with the convergence scheme with building heat in here, moving into the same general area. So we'll have to watch to see if the West Gulf gets a double hit. This is a tropical wave east of the Caribbean that is going to have to be watched very closely. This has a very nicely well-defined V-notch signature over here, inverted V signature that you hear us talk about a lot. Nice turning of the surface winds in here, thunderstorms going off over it, and this will have to be watched as well. This is the European model from last night. This is the trough lifting out, piece left behind east of the Bahamas over here. You can see the slight surface reflection. This is something that'll have to be watched. Pressures are rather high in here, so development is going to be hard to pull off, and there's not the most abundant amount of moisture available. If we go out over here, day 4, day 5, you can see the upper piece retrogrades westward into the eastern Gulf of Mexico, but the surface feature gets decoupled and stays off the Carolinas, and you have more energy strung out in this direction. This is something that the GFS shows as well, where the upper piece takes off. The GFS has it up in here in Georgia. The surface features left behind off the Carolinas. And this will be interesting to see how this works. If the low stays stacked, it could get in here and pose a problem underneath the trough split. But if the trough split takes off over here and leaves the surface feature behind as a decoupled feature, then I'm not so sure this is going to be too much of a problem. It would get caught in the low-level steering flow and head up towards the Carolinas, but development possibilities, I believe, would be low with such a feature. Here's the UK Met. You can see the trough split over here with the surface feature east of Florida, and also here's the tropical wave that's over here on satellite imagery, moving into the western Caribbean as an amplified wave. This is the Canadian, and it tries to play around with fun and games over here, strung out energy with the trough split. The second trough split that doesn't do anything really with the first one. I actually believe this one is some remnants of this, which it tries to bring east, which makes absolutely no sense to me, so you can throw that one out. This bombs out what's over here in the western Caribbean right now and brings it into Texas. Now this is probably too far north. The pattern is not very different from when Alex formed, so this this feature should come in as far south or farther south than Alex did, because one, it's developing farther west than Alex did later on, and the ridge over this part of the country should force this into Mexico again if it develops. Now, this is likely to be a much weaker feature than Alex was, and why? Because Alex absolutely drained the ocean of all energy along its path. It's amazing how much these major hurricanes do to the warm water. This Gulf was boiling warm in here, and all of a sudden it's cooled down to near zero heat content with sea surface temperatures all the way down to 26 C in areas in here. Sometimes I wonder how the waters come back in time to support multiple major hurricanes in a year like 2005 did, but they do come back. A couple weeks under sunshine and you're good to go again. But for now, if something were to develop in here, it would be severely limited by the cold water, and it would likely not be that strong or nearly as strong as Alex was. We'll have to see how the situation works out. Hopefully Mexico doesn't get a double hit. You know, you can't throw Texas out of the game this far out, but the pattern is similar to Alex, so I would expect it to be as far south or farther south even than Alex was if it develops in the Bay of Campeche. Now, these areas here associated with the trough splits don't have me nearly as concerned as these areas down in the deep tropics, which I think are going to cause problems. You've got lots of model support for this one to develop in here. These are close to shore, so again, especially this one needs to be monitored closely because of the oil spill concerns, and anything that's close to our shores, homegrown mischief, has to be watched very closely on a minute-by-minute basis because they can wind up fast, and they're usually sitting only a day or two from shore if they decide to move in. But I think development chances for both of these are low. This one has more of a chance. This one has no real model support anymore for development. The European a couple days ago had this developing into a storm in the Gulf. That no longer has showed that for a few runs now. I am not giving up on this. I think this is a problem once this gets down the road here. When you get, whoops, here, this is the GFS Ensembles Day 4 for an example. When you get the big positive height anomaly up here in southeast Canada and New England, what it does is it drags the ridge northward over here, and you get the heat wave over the east and the northeast and everything else. But you drag the ridge north, the subsidence is all up here, and you end up with heat bubbling down here because there's no troughs digging in. The ridge is up here protecting it, and you leave this sit, and you have heat bubbling underneath, and you end up getting 200 millibar ridging, upper ridging over here, indicating the buildup of heat. And the troughs try to come down and lift out. You're left with trough splitting pieces off the eastern seaboard, and you get upper troughing in this area. And so when you get the building heat and upper troughing in here, you start ventilating this area, and then you get tropical waves trying to propagate into this area. And you can see where the concern right now, there's an upper trough in here, an upper low, because Alex is still out west here, and it's still trying to rebuild the pattern because the heat got dragged off this way. You're going to see that heat rebuild and refocus over here, and you can already see the thunderstorms going off in here, and this area of the world is favorable for upward motion due to the NJO. And when you get tropical waves coming into this area with trough splits occurring out here and upper troughs and tuts and all the rest, and with the ridge in here, you start ventilating this area, and it's a very favorable breeding ground for development and possibly close to home. The Gulf of Mexico may be host to some more trouble before July is out, or maybe even the first half of July is out. This could be trouble. This really has a nasty look to it in my mind. If this comes in here, survives, gets under the ridge, within 7 to 8 days, you're going to see an upper ridge over here that would be very favorable for developments similar to what Alex had. And this would have the potential to come farther north towards the United States. But it's a long way away. We'll need to watch it. It's a defined wave, so we'll see how it goes. This also has to be watched if it comes across. These two things have to be watched. It's a very active world out there in the tropics right now. We'll see how my idea goes that we'll get 2 to 3 named storms, Bonnie or Colin, by mid-July, July 15th we'll call it. So we'll see how it goes. The pattern is favorable, and we're starting to knock them down here as the season goes along, so hopefully everybody is ready for this season that promises to be quite active. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.